and I'm finding this with an increasing number of Netflix originals, and now even with HBO. The entertainment industry as a whole, this is one of the big things I was going to rant about, because it also ties into what I talked about with Steven Crowder earlier, is that the biggest problem we have with the entertainment industry, mainly here in the U.S., because we're the number one purveyors of entertainment apparently, is that obviously we have way too much of the same stuff repeating over and over. How many... Like, other people have said this, how many times do we need a Spider-Man reboot? How many times do we need a Batman reboot? How many times do we need Superman reboot? Reboot after reboot after
insanity.
Reboot.
It's literally insanity.
You're noticing there's nothing really creative going on. We're always rehashing things that already exist. The recent development, which is now the third worst rated series in history, Velma.
Oh, don't ever fucking say that again. Don't ever mention that show ever again.
You saw it?
Don't ever mention it.
I have not seen it.
I've never saw it, but they desecrated Scooby-Doo. They desecrated this whole Scooby-Doo franchise. Fuck that show.
And here's why I say this has all been a bad thing. The real problem isn't exactly what people talk about wokeness being in TV, because you can do that if you do it right. The real problem with the entertainment industry has been too many of the... I keep wanting to say development crew because I'm used to the gaming industry. I do more games than I do movies. But the whole production crew, especially in the executive and directing positions, are too busy with their heads up their asses, self-inserting themselves into their creations.
Doing this stuff. I think they're trying to make more diversity with their shows.
Well, yes, they are following ESG. They are following ESG, but what you're also finding with this ESG shit...
That shouldn't apply with cartoon characters.
But when it comes to the entertainment industry, you hear a lot of cancel stuff, but the reason why that exists so predominantly in the acting industry or the entertainment industry is because it has not been taken over by woke culture. It has been taken over by narcissism culture. Everything becomes about them, but because they want to seem virtuous, they add an extra caveat of something like racism or sexism when that wasn't the case to begin with. But because they inserted themselves and made it about them, you get a pile of shit, and then when someone calls it out for being a pile of shit, they call them a racist. It's not the woke culture, it's narcissism culture. And it dawned on me because the creator of, Velma, openly admitted that she pretty much inserted herself into the role of Velma, made it about her, and you notice that the character is vindictive rather than, like, none of the main characters from the Scooby whatever bullshit, they don't like each other. They all hate each other. In the original series, they were friends. Why suddenly must they hate each other? Because narcissism culture is what's taken over the entertainment industry. How many characters do you see in how many movies, TV series or otherwise, where it's all about the main character and how they think everyone else around them is stupid? Or they make everyone around them portrayed as stupid.
By my own opinion, Velma, I don't think Velma deserves any sort of like attention.
No, it doesn't.
Just stick back to Scooby-Doo, regular Scooby-Doo. I like it better.
Stick to what worked, or better yet, do something new. Don't rehash something that already exists because you even pissed off the woke. You pissed off your woke audience. If you manage to do that, you've done something wrong. And don't turn around and say that they're bigoted for not liking it. That makes you an asshole.
And it makes you the bigot.
Yes, it makes you the bigot. And that's why I've said the problem isn't woke and cancel culture in the entertainment industry. It has been taken over by narcissism culture, where... And again, everything has to be about them. You have a main character, you have a director or a producer who wants to insert themselves into that role, while they already have disdain about their peers.
Superheroes as well.
Yes,
they did. Okay, so
why do you think CW canceled Batwoman?
Okay, going back to the superhero stuff. You know Electro, right? This dude, that wants to become energy and stuff. He was originally a white man, right? But in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, they changed his race to black. That's fine. I don't really care. He's a good character.
And here's the thing. Back then...
And they kept it.
Back then and now, with that movie, it didn't matter. Because he auditioned for the role, he did the role well, and the role was done really well. What happens now is it gets shoehorned in because they need to check off some boxes, but at the same time... You can do that if you do the writing well, if you direct it well, if you do it well. A really great example of these kinds of problems is the Rings of Power. Like, there were certain parts of it where the series was actually really good. There are other parts that were just fucking, like, out of character stupid.
Do you remember when the Resident Evil series came out on, I think, Netflix or something, or somewhere else?
Nope.
Wesker. So they changed Wesker's role. They changed Wesker. He was originally a white man. Now he's black. A lot of people were like, "This isn't Wesker."
At the same time, it shouldn't matter if someone does the role well.
But it was his character development.
If you change their character completely, it's no longer that character. But you're pretty much putting a different character in a skin suit. And that's the thing about narcissism culture, is that it's always about them. They check off the boxes, but they also want to hide. They're using the woke stuff as a shield to their bad writing and bad decisions. That's what it is. They're literally using it as a shield. The weird thing is,
if you change the character of the original character, it's not going to be the same. This goes for Wesker. This goes for Scooby-Doo characters in Velma. This goes for anyone, but just the way they look at you, keep the same personality, but change the way they look. It's not going to change that much.
With how many changes this producer, director, whatever her name is, I don't remember her name, but I have done my reading, I have done my listening, and what I did confirm is that she sees herself as Velma and put herself and wanted to have more of her story in there, which means she must obviously hate her peers, because Velma in that series hates her peers. And
Jinkies.
But at the same time, they want to make all these changes for the claim of diversity, but at the same time, I argue that some of these people do it to hide bad writing. And a good way to explain this is they wanted to make Shaggy black. If you do the writing well, it's great. The writing isn't there at all. It's a completely different character because they realized, hey, Shaggy's a stoner. We can't have a stereotype of a black stoner.
Shaggy does not sound normal. He's like, he doesn't sound like that. He's more. His voice is more.
It reached the point where it's not even the character. It's not even Shaggy. Not even named Shaggy. And the reason is because they wanted to make a black Shaggy, but then during development they realized they were making a black stoner stereotype, which made things worse for them. So they had to make more changes. So then they just kind of turned him gave him a different name. I don't remember what it is. They gave him a different name, and now he's just your typical beta male who's just simping for Velma.
I don't like that. Not because he's like black or anything. No, it's the fact that they changed.
You changed the writing.
Character.
He's
supposed to be a pussy. He's supposed to be a wuss and a stoner at the same time. That's why we loved him.
Did you forget about Ultra Instinct Shaggy?
That's another thing. Yeah, they completely wiped that away from the whole. Warner Brothers fucked up.
No, I will say Warner Brothers in general, when it comes to their IP, they're obviously making a series of very, very bad decisions. But you're seeing this in a growing number of production companies. Disney, obviously, because they will bend over backward to please China. But they will insult us Americans.
Family Guy.
They will insult us Americans while they bend over backwards to appease China. They literally thanked those security forces that have been enslaving and committing genocide on the Uyghur Muslims. Yet if we speak out about something that's absolutely bullshit, they'll say you're a racist.
Let's not talk about genocide in China. Let's never
I don't give a damn. That's why I'll never audition for a voice role in Genshin Impact with Hoyoverse, because I know if I got a role with them, they would get thrown in prison.